Do you feel like your life just has no meaning anymore? And do you feel like your life is just in shambles? Like there's nothing you can do about it? And so you're burnt out and you're watching all these videos on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and Twitter, and you're buying these books that are telling you how to fix these problems in simple steps with easy solutions. Well, guess what, buddy? You're a fucking sucker. Because I'm here to tell you today that self help is a straight up scam. And I don't want to sit here and dog on you if you are one of these people who's bought into this, you know what I mean? I just want to help guide you in the right direction because you're being exploited very heavily. And you are not a dummy or a sucker. That's the good news for you. The good news for you is that you're not the idiot here. Like you are just fine how you are, but the thing is people are exploiting your traumas and your horrible life situations and they're using it to profit. And to provide some context into what I'm talking about, self help is basically just this scam where people are selling books and courses and they're selling all sorts of, these influencers, they're selling all sorts of things and easy steps to difficult solutions. And their whole marketing strategy is just to tell you that you don't know what you're doing and that everything is your fault, but guess what? You pay them a little bit of money and they're going to fix it for you, and they'll just provide easy steps that are going to help you get to where they're at, to help you achieve what they could achieve and to be the best. And you know what? You know what we call that where I'm from? We call that a load of horse shit. Because you know what? There's a big twist to this, and if you buy into this, that's where they get you, right? Because of course there's going to be a twist to it. It's a business, bro. It's not they don't care about you. They're just exploiting you, and their whole business model just relies on that. And what they rely on is that this doesn't actually work 99% of the time. None of this is actually going to work for you. They promise you things like, depending on what your situation is, right? They promise you wealth and strong financial stability, and they promise you weight loss, or they'll promise you a happy, friendly, amazing marriage or whatever, but it doesn't actually work. And that's the whole scam here, dude. It's the whole scam, but it's legal to do because guess what? That's the wonderful, beautiful, amazing world of capitalism. And what I really hate is those guys, these gym bros, these straight chads that are basically like straight up Andrew Tate, bro. Like these guys who just tell you that you need to work out more and you need to quit worrying about girls and this and that. Like, gang, I'd be clapping buns every night, bro, and I'm skinny as shit. And you know what? I couldn't say that my life is horrible. My life is pretty good. Like, that is such bullshit, bro. And it's these guys who are just basically ODing off of creatine 20 times a week, going to the gym, and they lift for one Instagram reel, and then they just jack some roids into them before they leave, and then they leave the gym. But underneath the surface, bro, these people are shallow as shit, bro, and they've just learned that they can exploit people based off of different situations. They basically just downplay and minimize sociological issues in your life and make it seem like they have all the answers. They put on an appearance as if they're an expert. When really the reality is most of these people are probably high school dropouts, maybe college dropouts if they even advance past high school. Or maybe they read Capitalism 101 for Dummies and they finally got an idea as to how the economy works, and they're like, oh, we can just scam the fuck out of people legally and be fine with it. Because this is a whole business that is basically based off of providing good advice, with good morals, when really it's a moralless, soulless business. And the only advice that they ever actually give you that is something that you should really just be able to understand, because we'll get to that here in a second, is that you need to work hard. You need to grind, bro. You need to work harder than everybody else. I like to call those guys grind bros, actually. I know I say the word bro a lot, but I like to call them grind bros. Because their entire basis about how life works is that you just need to work as hard as you can all the time and just overdo it so that you can actually become successful. And I want to reiterate something. I don't want to sound like a broken record in this video, but these people minimize, downplay, and have zero clue about different sociological issues and life paths that people are on. Because essentially, if you're going to follow their advice, you need to just be living the exact same life as them. And the reality of this is that, they just have daddy's money, or they just got a lucky draw, or they must have just hit the algorithm on Instagram. They didn't actually work for it 9 times out of 10, and if they did, they're still selling you bullshit and exploiting you, and they should be ashamed in themselves. Because let's take, for example, you're trying to lose some weight, right? These guys are just going to tell you that you're a fat, lazy chud and that, you need to listen to them because they're the expert and they have the experience. And if you just pay them the price tag of what they're trying to give you, which is usually hefty, I guess. I don't really know how much this actually costs because I've never even looked into buying this sort of shit. But I could probably tell you that it's probably expensive because they're trying to sell you a book or a course or some sort of Discord meeting or whatever they're doing. I really don't fully know how these programs work, but you're just paying them to get advice that you could just find for free, for one, that you could really just watch videos on or whatever. And then they're also just kind of telling you to work harder. They're just telling you to have a grind set. And the problem here is what works for other people will not work for you, bro. Like 99 out of 100 times it won't. And what works for you might not work for other people. And that's just the way of the world, bro. Everybody's programmed differently. And they take advantage of you essentially by telling you that this is all your fault and you need to listen to them and their advice. Which I've already said that. Again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but that's the whole point of this business. That's all their entire business model is based off of. And there's people reading huge books, like 500 pages, just to have this same advice spewed at them. So you know what? Fuck you, bro. If you're watching this and you're one of those people who sells this bullshit, bro, just know I'm going to sound like a broken record too, because that's all you people sound like to me. And I have a funny story, bro. Shoji Morimoto, a guy from Japan, actually made a service where it was called rental guy who does nothing. Literally, like, you could rent him out, right? And then he just stands there. He doesn't participate in what you're doing. He just follows you around. And that's basically what these people are doing for you, I guess, because you're just paying them to just kind of be there while you still do things and you're still doing the work and you're still having to do it. It's just these people are just lingering over your shoulder taking your money. And although his book is it's a little bit of a different situation, it was just a good way to kind of describe this and how I kind of thought of it. Because you don't need these people, bro. You need support systems in your life. And you know what? I want to go over just a couple of things that are going to actually help you instead of, buying into people just telling you to work harder, because you don't need that. First, you need to tap into your own brain, right? Because this is self-help. This is yourself, your own consciousness. Your own single consciousness is controlling you, right? In your brain. And I want to give you guys some advice here. And this is something that you actually already know, but you just might not have thought of it yet. The only person that you cannot lie to is you. You cannot lie to yourself as much as you try. You can deny, and you can try to stimulate your brain through the TikTok or your phone or, other means of media or, whatever. But lingering in the back of your brain and your consciousness every single day when you wake up and when you go to sleep and hit the pillow and even when you're asleep, it's still there, bro. There's no way that you can lie to yourself. So your first step is to come to terms with yourself, bro. You have to tell yourself that you need help. The only way that you're really generally gonna get the help that you need is if you acknowledge that. And sometimes in these situations, people who do buy into this self-help propaganda, they do that, but then they go to that. And that's what fucks them up, bro. That's what screws them over. So what you really need is you need support, bro. You need a support system, whether that be something or someone. You have maybe at home, maybe you have your mom, or maybe you have your brothers, your sisters, your uncles, your grandpa, whatever, your grandma. Like there's people in your life, your friends, your significant other. And if you're genuinely alone, you have nobody, you're not doomed either, but we'll get to you in a second. But if you have people in your life who care about you and the things going on, that is your second step, bro. Like you need to talk to somebody. Like you need to tell them that you need that support. You need to tell them that, you need them at this time. And whatever your situation is, like I say, there's all sorts of different situations, and I could go over every single one of them, but, I don't got time for that. But I will say, like, if you have those people, that is your second step. Is first you need to acknowledge your problems and things going on, and then you need to talk about it, and you need to come up with a plan with people. And that could go for different situations. Like I said, if you're having money problems, you need to go talk to an accountant, bro. You need to talk to somebody who knows money, somebody who might be in marketing or some sort of finance job or whatever. You have to find specific people for specific situations. There's no doubt. But when you find the professional person who's actually out there actively doing it, not some random 20-year-old gym bro on Instagram with abs who just slams creatine all day, who doesn't actually know what he's talking about. Like, this is going to help you a lot more. And I even do recommend a therapist. I think that's my next, recommendation for those people who feel lost, or those people who feel like they have no hope. That is a huge step. And you people who I said that might not have any family or friends for some reason, I've been there too, so I don't blame you. A therapist can help you. That's somebody who, yeah, you're paying them, but you're paying them to personally talk you through your issues, not to read about generalized terms that just kind of, might help you minimize it in your head and not make it seem like a big deal. Because guess what, dude? You matter, and your life and the things going on in it, those are big issues, whether they are big or small. It is big to you, it's important to you, and it's important to get to the bottom of it and find a solution, right? So what I'm saying is that a therapist is somebody who's trained to help you do that, and they're personalizing the experience. And that's what you don't get with these self-help courses and books and things. You don't get a personalized experience with your personal issues. And when you have that, that is going to help you way more. I promise you, that is a way better way to go about it. And next, you just got to take action, bro. Once you have your plan and you have your support system, and you've acknowledged that you have these problems, then you can start to take action. You can start to figure it out, because you'll have people to talk to, and you'll have, the peace of mind in your brain that you understand it now, to actually formulate some sort of, fix. And, if it comes to something like, I don't know, let's just say that you're having problems with your math test or something, right? This is for the younger viewers out there. Maybe talk to a tutor or another student from your class, who has great grades going on or whatever, and get the advice, get the help there. It really just takes you going out and getting real world help, not from some book that somebody wrote about generalized issues. Because in the end, that's never going to help you, bro. That's just going to send you back to square one, just even more stressed out and having more anxiety about it, because you feel like a dumbass. You feel like a dummy and a loser, and you feel like, man, I can't even figure it out for myself, and this didn't help me at all. So I bought into this, and it didn't even work. It didn't even do anything for me, and now I'm still stuck with the same problems that I had yesterday. And you're going to find a lot more peace in mind as well, not coming around these people, because a lot of the times they will tell you that your problems are your fault, right? And they'll tell you that your insecurities are your fault, and they'll make you feel as if you're a problem, and that's where they can sell you on it. And like I said, I'm a broken record today, but it's kind of, it helps me provide context with each thing I'm saying. I'm sorry. But, it is just them using you and your problems to make some money, and it won't work. And that's the funny part to them, is that they can make money off of this, and whether it works for you or not, they're still getting paid. They don't care about you. And that's why I recommend having friends or family or a therapist or somebody who actually has some sort of genuine concern, who can personalize the experience for you, or maybe a trainer or a teacher or a professor or somebody who is actually going to have some sort of personal connection to you and actually have a better understanding of what's going on in your life. And you could go outside, you could read some literature, some actual, informing stuff. When you sit here and you just doom scroll all day and you just watch TikTok and Instagram, you do nothing but brain rot, that is not helping you either, bro. And that's another step to the puzzle. You need to unplug, bro. You need to go out into the real world, and you need to analyze things. You need to learn things. You need to go thirst for knowledge. You don't need to be sitting around in the house watching just straight, I don't know, triple T, sahur, dancing around or doing whatever weird shit they do with those videos. Like, you need to go have some real genuine interaction with the world, man. And that's a way better way to help yourself and to actually fix things going on. If you go out and you actually analyze things and you're observant of the world around you, it's going to help you a lot more than people just giving you straight up answers that aren't actually answers. They're just simple steps to nothing. And let's say, I don't know, maybe for the dads watching, let's say that you owe, $5 grand in child support because you fell down on your dick and now you're fucked financially, bro. Like, Like, you don't need some dumbass teenager in your ear telling you that you're just broke because you didn't work hard enough. There's people out there who work 80-hour work weeks, you know what I'm saying? And they work crazy amounts of time and they still cannot afford to take care of their families because of how the economy is. But instead, you have all these dicks in books or the internet or media or whatever telling you that you're just broke and you're a chud because you didn't work hard enough. Like, that's just what I call entitlement, bro. That's just called straight bozo behavior. Like, you shouldn't have to listen to that, bro. So I'm just, I'm giving out advice, bro. I'm still figuring out this life shit myself. I'm only 20 years old, right? And I've said that in a couple of videos now, probably. I'm a broken record, bro. Damn. Even me saying broken record. But, you just don't need people to tell you that. You don't need people to tell you that you're failing or that you're doing bad because you're not, bro. You're just trying your hardest. It just comes down to you having to address it yourself and find what works for you. Find what's comfortable for you and find your hot zone, bro. Find what's going to work for you. I don't want to I cannot stress this enough that whatever works for you might not work for everybody else, but what works for everybody else probably won't work for you. So at the end of the day, you just got to figure it out on your own. So yeah, man, that's pretty much all I wanted to say about this is that, this is all a scam and that you really don't need that and you don't need to let people feed these lies into you and make you pay them large sums of money just for some advice that you could figure out on your own or probably figure out from your elders or somebody, I don't know. Or a lot of it's just common sense and people just are too lazy. So, there's a lot of different ways to get around this, but I just wanted to speak on this because I feel like it's just such a sham, bro, and I'm not buying into it. And I don't want you guys to get scammed by these people either. So, just be on the lookout for things like this. If you're struggling with things, bro, I really do hope it gets better. You can always reach out to me if you guys want. Like, I could link my Instagram or whatever. Like, or you could comment or something, and I'll reach out to you. Comment your Instagram if you just need somebody to talk to. Because, if you actually need help with things, like, you need people who actually care about you, bro. But yeah, man, I hope you guys are all well. That's pretty much all I gotta say for today. I'm sorry, like, I know people think I'm LARPing as Paulie. I have to say this again, like, I'm really not trying to. But anyways, that's all I really gotta say, so later.